Well, welcome everybody to our last session for this lengthy for this college prep for these series of college prep sessions. In our previous session, we covered how colleges admit students by discussing how applications are processed and how college campus visits are helpful. Then we discussed the various application plans and the benefits each one brings to students. And then next slide. Thank you. So now in our final session, we'll be going over the specific parts of the college application, what you as a student need to have when applying, and different financial aid programs and scholarships you can receive. The next slide. So here's the basic rundown of the different sections of the college application. First, you need your high school transcript that has all your grades from the past 4 years. Transcripts from outside of school courses, like community colleges, should also be sent to the universities you're applying to. Next, you need to send recommendation letters. Usually, you should get letters of recommendation from teachers that teach the subject you're interested in. For example, if a student wants a degree in STEM or like science, then getting letters from teachers that teach science or math will show colleges that you're a good student for the degree. Usually because like in the letter, the teacher will probably say how you are a competent worker in that specific subject, which just boosts your application and shows how you're ready for the rigor of college. And also another thing is also you get what called letter of recommendation from AP teachers, especially since those are college level classes. And so if you perform well in those classes, then colleges would like that. Then after getting your letters of recommendation, you need to complete essays that are both required by the application platform, as in like the common application, which is a platform and requires one essay, or by the colleges themselves, which is usually called supplemental essays. In a previous session, we discussed the UC prompts and gave tips on how to best write them. When we send the slide presentation after the session, you can go to that slide and we have linked on that slide the different UC prompts. And on that website, they give tips like how you can choose any of the 4 prompts out of the 8 it won't affect your college admissions, and like how you're supposed to respond to these prompts. And then after you write your essays, you need to list the different extracurriculars on your application. Usually, these are clubs and internships that you've participated in during high school. One good strategy is that early on, probably during your freshman or sophomore years, you should start keeping a list of what activities you participated in, so that when you apply during your senior year, you'll have that list to remember what you've done, because by that time you've gone through so many hours of studying that the things you've done in freshman year will probably have left your mind. And then next slide. So how do you submit these these documents, as in like the transcripts and letter of recommendation letters when applying? For high school transcripts, you use a website called Parchment. This website connects your school to the universities you're applying to. And by following the instructions on the PDF I linked on the slide, you'll be able to order transcripts from your school and tell your school which colleges to send them to. So yeah, it seems like a lot, but basically what it's saying is you create an account, and when you create an account, a Parchment account, and you choose a school, and on that website, for that specific school, you ask your school you order a transcript from your school and ask them to send it to that university. So that's a Parchment. And then back to the slide presentation. So then for teacher recommendations, the teachers themselves will contact the universities you're applying to after you ask them to. And then on your application, you assign recommenders that the college should be aware of. This allows the admissions counselors to match the recommendation letter they receive either through email or physical mail to your application. And like this is like a if you're applying with the common application, which most of you probably would, on that application for each time you apply to a different university, there'll be a section that where you would do assign like recommenders and like you type the teacher's name. And then for specifically the UC system special in that you only need to do one application. And in this application, you put down all of your information and the specific campuses that you apply to, like UCLA or UCSD. So even though so don't be confused when I say like you're doing one application. It doesn't mean like you're applying to all the campuses. You're applying to specific campuses, and sometimes depending like sometimes campuses can have their own guidelines, extra guidelines. And I know like especially for like capped majors, there may be more like I know like for UCSD for engineering, there's more requirements you have to have and more things you need to submit to like get into that specific program. So you probably should do like more research on like specific majors and campuses when you're applying to like the UC system. And then in the case that you want to switch majors after getting accepted to UC, refer to the link on the slide presentation. And if you click it, it just goes over the guidelines for changing majors for each UC campus. So like, UC Davis saying like you can only do it in the first quarter. And then I know some college, I think some of them say like you can only switch majors within the department, like from like molecular biology to genetics. That's within the biology department, and you can switch between those two, but not something outside of that. So yeah, so that's a helpful link to go to. And then I'll hand it off to Aryan, who will discuss scholarships.
So just give me 1 second. All right, so financial need and scholarships and loans. Now, you may know that colleges basically cost a lot, especially if you're looking at a private college. For example, a lot of the Ivy League colleges can usually cost anywhere from about 60K to like 70K dollars a year if you look at just their price of tuition and their price of room and board and all that included. Now, many students actually don't pay that cost. They get various forms of financial support. So these are their forms. So first of all, we have merit scholarships and grants. All right, so a merit scholarship is a scholarship that you earn with your academic achievements. So basically say I took the PSAT and then I got like a good score, which qualified me to be a winner or something. It's not a winner, I forgot what it's called. It's like a PSAT. So basically, if you take a PSAT and you score above a certain score in your state, then you will become a
Qualifier?
finalist. Yes.
Oh, final. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll become a finalist. And then if you become a finalist, you can get specific merit scholarships. You can see all this on their site. I don't have them memorized right now. So that's merit scholarships. You can also get qualified for merit scholarships by like other means, not just standardized testing scores. Like maybe say you took an AP and you got a certain score on it, or you took a certain amount of honors courses or AP courses. So there are merit scholarships for that too. And you can also get grants from your colleges. So now, say you apply to a college and then you don't have enough money to pay it or something, or maybe your family qualifies for grants. So what grants are there? Basically, the college will like grant you a certain amount of money that you do not need to repay. So yeah, you don't need to repay it. It's not like granting money. It's basically like a discount. You can think of it like a discount. So they'll basically reimburse you for some amount of their money, depending on your assets and your home value and your parents' income and all of that. And you don't need to repay either merit scholarships nor grants. You don't need to repay those. Those are like, yeah. So state-specific grants, you don't have to repay these either. Now, state-specific grants are usually for low-income students. So if you're not a low-income student, then it might be a bit hard to get one, but you should still try to get them because you still may be eligible even if you don't know it. And if you're a National Merit Scholarship at not if you're a National Merit finalist, as I mentioned above, you should tell the college that got you should tell the college about that. So they may give you additional scholarships based on that. Yeah, so the last form of financial, all right, so the final form of financial support we have are loans. So federal and college loans. Now these, you have to repay these. So basically, the federal government will loan you a certain amount of money and there will be a very low interest rate. Like it's what I now, I said very low, that's very relative to what you consider as being very low. So the interest rates are usually pretty low and yeah, you have to repay those though. So usually many students will take a combination of these. So their colleges will grant them some money and then they will also get some loans and state specific grants too. And then after that, their parents will fill in the remaining money or they'll just take loans for all of it, depending on how that goes. All right, so again, if you have any questions, we will be having a short Q&A session at the end of this presentation. So just hang on, or you can just type them in the chat for now. All right, so financial need scholarships, merit scholarships. Now, merit scholarships, yeah, for merit scholarships, first of all, don't reject your college. Don't reject a college just because it's too expensive for you. Because again, once you get accepted, or even if you don't even get accepted, if you just apply and then they say, oh, you're accepted, but you don't actually enroll, they will still display all their financial aid packages. So you may get one that's good for you. So don't just say that, oh, that college is very expensive. For example, Stanford University, that's like 76, about somewhere in the 70Ks per year if you go off their base, if you go off their price, like their sticker price. So it's like 70K, including 50K of tuition, 20K of dorm rooms and all that. I'm pretty sure it's around that much. So you shouldn't just you shouldn't just say, I'm not going to apply to Stanford because their price is so high. Because again, you can get all these you can get financial aid to like help you with that. So don't just reject a college. Don't remove it off your college list just because it costs too much. Again, if you're a National Merit Scholarship finalist, you list the preferred college and you may get a scholarship. So generally how this works is that you either indicate that when applying for the college itself, or once you become a National Merit finalist, you need to notify the colleges or something. I don't know too much about the second way, so just stick to the first way. Right, so no need to apply individually for many. So for many of these, you don't need to fill in like one individual form for each one. Some of them have like one form you need to fill out for all of them. So it's like the common app. You have one app and then you fill it out and you give it to like thousands, hundreds of schools accept that common app. So it's something like that. So these application portals do exist and you may want to search for them because it's very convenient. And for UCs, you just need to select that you would like financial aid or something while applying. All right, let's move on to the next slide. How much will the colleges cost per year? Now, these are estimated prices. So if you live on campus, it's going to cost anywhere from 70K to 90K for Ivy or top private school colleges. So this is Stanford. Carnegie Mellon is also a top private, I believe. Harvard, Cornell, and all those. And 50 to 60K for the next level of private. Now, I'm pretty sure by the next level of private, they mean colleges like Purdue and all those. I'm pretty sure those qualify under that. So for colleges like Purdue, you'll have to pay about 50 to 60K, 45 to 55K for UC out of state, 35 to 37K in state. So say you're applying from like the state of Chicago or something. Wait, no, Chicago is in the state of Illinois or something. So if you're applying for like UC San Diego from Illinois, you're going to have to pay extra because you're applying out of state. Now, this is because the universities of California are public and they're mainly made to service California residents, so that's there. And this is the same case if you're applying from California to like University of Texas at Austin or Georgia Tech, for example. You're going to have to pay more than the residents there pay. And it's also going to be more competitive for you to gain admission because of that. All right, so 35, 37K in state, and then you have to pay 14K to 20K for a CSU. The CSUs are basically the cheapest option you can go with. Now, community colleges are even cheaper, but usually those are only 2 years. So you're going to have to transfer out of them at some point. Yeah, so community colleges are even cheaper than that. But now we're just looking at four-year colleges, so that's your estimated cost for those. All right, now lastly, here are some scholarship portals you can apply for. Now, the first one we're going to discuss is the FAFSA. It's called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's a form completed by current and prospective college students in the United States to determine their eligibility for governmental student financial aid. So basically, if you become eligible for the FAFSA, then the government will give you a certain amount of aid for it. Now, all colleges look for this. And why do they look for it? Well, you basically fill out all your financial information on that. So the colleges will look at that and decide how much they need to pay you, like how much scholarship money are you going to get? How much grant money are you going to get and all that. They decide off the information that is present in your FAFSA. All right, so yeah, so the government loans, as I said before, the government gives you grants, work study, and loan funds based on the data that you filled in for the FAFSA. Now, what I mean by work study is that so basically you will get a job and you will work for that, but then the job may be government sponsored and it may pay more than it's supposed to pay. But yeah, that's what work study is. Yeah, and as I said before, colleges look at your FAFSA to determine your eligibility for their financial aid. Now, the second type of scholarship portal is the CSS profile. Now, this is owned by the College Board, and many colleges look for this as well. But all colleges look for the FAFSA. Like almost all colleges look for the FAFSA to determine how much financial aid they should give you. So you should always consider filling out the FAFSA. The CSS profile, not all of them look at it, but many colleges look at this as well. So there's like about 300 of them which look at it. And for the notable ones, we have Carnegie Mellon, Harvard, Cornell. I'm pretty sure a lot of the other Ivies also do it, but usually private, like public institutions like the UCs don't look at that. All right, now you may be asking, what is the difference between the FAFSA and the CSS profile? Well, the FAFSA provides federal grants, loans, and other types of government assistance, and the CSS profile is an application that universities use to gauge how much non-federal financial aid you need. So basically, if you fill out the FAFSA and you become eligible for something, for like, say, a certain amount of grant money from the government, you will get that. And colleges will also look at your FAFSA to see your financial information to decide how much financial aid they should give you off that. If you fill out your CSS profile on the College Board's website, you won't get any money from the College Board or from the government, but they will look at it to see whether you should how much financial aid they should give you. So that's the main difference between those. The FAFSA directly, if you fill out the FAFSA and you become eligible, you can directly get money from the government, but for the CSS profile, you won't. CSS profile is basically a compilation of all of your financial information that colleges can look at to see if they should give you scholarships or not. All right, and one last thing I'd like to add is that all W-2 and asset info needs to be reported for both of these. And W-2 and income tax reports may also need to be uploaded as well. So you can check out the specific requirements on their websites.